David, a young millionaire, sat at the grand dining table of his family's sprawling estate, his jaw tight with frustration. Across from him, his father remained composed while his mother watched him closely. "This isn't happening," David muttered, pushing his untouched steak aside. His father's voice was measured as he responded, "This isn't a request, David. It's a decision that has already been made." His mother, equally firm, reminded him that this marriage was about preserving the family's legacy. David scoffed at the idea of an arranged marriage, especially to a woman he had never met, one who, according to whispers, hid behind a veil. The next evening, David met his bride-to-be, Anna. She entered the sitting room gracefully, her long veil obscuring her face, leaving only her piercing gray eyes visible. She greeted him with calm composure, but David couldn't ignore the mystery surrounding her. Throughout dinner, he grew increasingly irritated by the veil and finally spoke up. "You don't have to keep that on. No one here will judge you." Anna, unfazed, replied, "I'm not hiding anything that matters." When he pressed further, she simply stated that their union was an arrangement, not a love story. Her words left David stunned. He had expected resistance, even shyness, but not this level of detachment and clarity. The day of the wedding arrived, filled with opulence and whispers. Guests murmured about Anna's insistence on keeping her face hidden. Even as David was told to kiss the bride, she made no move to lift the veil, forcing him into a distant, perfunctory gesture. At the reception, he overheard guests speculating about Anna's appearance, fueling his frustration. When they were finally alone in their suite, David's patience broke. "Are you going to keep that thing on forever?" he demanded. Anna, ever composed, responded, "Until I'm ready." Her refusal to yield only deepened his confusion and anger. Days passed and David avoided Anna, retreating to his office or escaping the estate for long drives. Yet despite his frustration, he began to notice things about her: her quiet grace, her intelligence, the way the household staff admired her. One day, while struggling with a business merger, he was startled when Anna appeared, offering unexpected yet precise advice. "The issue isn't the numbers, it's the ambiguity in this clause," she pointed out. Skeptical but desperate, David took her suggestion, and to his surprise, it worked. His curiosity grew. He found her laughing with the kitchen staff, her warmth and kindness apparent despite the veil. She spoke to them with familiarity and respect, something he hadn't expected from someone so guarded. She was a mystery, yes, but not a cold or indifferent one. At dinner one evening, she surprised him again by asking about his business. When he shared his concerns, she suggested hosting a meeting at the estate to reassure hesitant partners. David followed her advice and the deal was sealed. As the days turned to weeks, his perception of Anna shifted. He saw intelligence, kindness, and strength where he once saw only secrecy. Yet the veil remained, a lingering reminder of the distance between them. One evening, unable to contain his frustration any longer, he confronted her in the library. "Why do you keep hiding behind that veil?" he asked. Anna's gaze held steady. "Because I wanted you to see me for who I am, not for what I look like," she said. "I hoped you'd be willing to look beyond the surface." Her words hit him harder than he expected. All this time, he had been fixated on what was hidden rather than what was right in front of him. "I've been a fool," he admitted, realizing his mistake. Determined to change, David invited Anna to be more involved in his business. She accepted, and in meetings, she impressed everyone with her insight and confidence. Executives who once eyed her with curiosity now listened to her with respect. After one particularly successful meeting, David turned to her. "You were incredible in there," he said, genuine admiration in his voice. For the first time, he saw Anna not as a mystery, but as a partner. The veil no longer defined her. It was simply a part of a much larger story. And for the first time, David was ready to learn that story, not just by uncovering what was beneath the veil, but by truly understanding the woman behind it. David, a young millionaire, sat at the grand dining table of his family's sprawling estate, frustration evident in his tense posture. His father remained composed while his mother watched him closely. "This isn't happening," David muttered, pushing aside his untouched steak. His father's voice was firm as he responded, "This isn't a request, David. It's a decision that has already been made." His mother reminded him that this marriage was about more than just him. It was about preserving the family's legacy. David scoffed at the idea of an arranged marriage, especially to a woman he had never met, one who, according to rumors, hid behind a veil. The next evening, he met his bride-to-be, Anna. She entered the sitting room with quiet grace, her long veil concealing her face, leaving only her piercing gray eyes visible. She greeted him calmly, her voice steady, but David couldn't ignore the mystery surrounding her. Throughout dinner, his irritation grew. "You don't have to keep that on," he said, his voice low but pointed. Anna remained unbothered. "I'm not hiding anything that matters," she replied. When he pressed further, she stated plainly, "This is an arrangement. Your parents need an alliance, and so does mine. No need for unnecessary emotions or expectations." Her detached clarity left David stunned. He had expected resistance or hesitation, but not this cool acceptance. Their wedding day arrived with grand opulence, yet it felt hollow to David. Anna remained veiled throughout the ceremony, even when they were told to kiss. Whispers circulated among guests, questioning what she was hiding. Later in their suite, David's patience snapped. "Are you going to keep that thing on forever?" he demanded. Anna met his gaze evenly. "Until I'm ready." Her unwavering response only deepened his frustration. In the days that followed, David avoided her, retreating to his office or taking long drives. Yet he began noticing things about her, the way the household staff respected her, her quiet authority, and her sharp intelligence. One day, while struggling with a business merger, she unexpectedly offered advice. "The issue isn't the numbers, it's the ambiguity in this clause," she pointed out. Skeptical yet desperate, David followed her suggestion, and to his surprise, it worked. Curiosity about her grew. He saw her laughing with the kitchen staff, treating them with warmth and familiarity. One evening, as they sat together in the garden, David finally asked, "Why did you agree to marry me?" "You didn't have to." Anna was silent for a moment, then said, "Because I saw potential in you. I saw someone who could be more than they realized." David felt an unexpected lump in his throat. "And have I lived up to that?" She met his eyes with a faint smile. "You're getting there." Despite their growing connection, the veil remained. One evening by the fireplace, David carefully broached the subject. "Do you think you'll ever take it off?" Anna didn't waver. "When the time is right." Though disappointment stirred within him, he nodded. "I just want you to know that I'm here whenever you're ready." For the first time, Anna reached out and placed a hand on his. "Thank you," she said softly. In that moment, David realized the veil was no longer the barrier he had once thought it to be. It was simply a part of her story, one she would share when she was ready. Then came the night of the grand gala, a celebration of the successful Whitman merger. As David stood near the stage engaging with investors, he glanced at the staircase, wondering if Anna would make an appearance. Then the room fell silent. All eyes turned as Anna descended the stairs in a shimmering emerald gown, her face unveiled. A collective gasp filled the air. She was stunning, her striking features and luminous gray eyes captivating the room. David stood frozen as she approached. "Anna, why now?" he asked softly. She met his gaze, her expression calm yet resolute. "Because it was time." She turned to address the guests. "Many of you have wondered why I kept my face hidden. Some assume the worst, but the truth is simpler. I wanted to be seen for who I am, not for what I look like. Too often we judge others by appearances. I didn't want that to define me or my marriage." She turned back to David, her voice softening. "I needed to know if you could see beyond it, if you could see me." David's chest tightened. He stepped closer, his voice filled with emotion. "I see you, Anna. I think I always have. I just didn't realize it until now." The crowd erupted into applause, but David only had eyes for her. "I was so fixated on what I couldn't see that I forgot to appreciate what was right in front of me. Your kindness, your intelligence, your strength. That's what I've fallen in love with." Anna's eyes shimmered. "And I've fallen in love with the man who was willing to grow, to learn, and to see beyond his own assumptions." From that night on, their relationship flourished. The veil was gone, but its absence was only a small part of the transformation between them. David no longer saw Anna as a mystery. She was his partner, his equal. He involved her in his business, and she proved to be invaluable. One afternoon during a crucial meeting, he introduced her to the boardroom. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge my wife, Anna. Her insights have been instrumental in shaping this project, and I couldn't ask for a better partner, both in business and in life. As months turned into years, their bond only grew stronger. They traveled together, explored shared passions, and built a life filled with trust and mutual respect. One evening, as they strolled through a bustling street market, David smiled at her. "Do you ever think about how far we've come?" Anna chuckled. "Every day, especially when I remember how much you hated that veil." David laughed. "Guilty, but I'm grateful for it now. It taught me to see you, not just your face, but everything that makes you who you are." Anna squeezed his hand. "And I'm grateful you were willing to learn." In the end, their love story wasn't about unveiling a beautiful face. It was about unveiling understanding, patience, and the power of seeing beyond the surface. Their marriage, once an arrangement, had become something far greater. And as they stood together, looking ahead at the future, they knew they were exactly where they were meant to be, side by side, as partners in every sense of the word.